Just a touch of your love is enough to knock me off of my feet. Oh, just a touch of your love.
Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So today I'm going to be doing a video. It's a beautiful day. We're outside in the park. Ollie is over there running around with his dad. So I'm going to film a video in continuation of the other video that I filmed about failing nursing school. So when I did that video, a lot of people responded and said that they had failed out of their nursing program or was asking me like what they should do. So I decided to make a video about what steps you should take if you literally just found out that you failed out of nursing school. So hopefully this video is not you and you didn't fail out of your program, but if you did, it's okay. There's steps you can take. You can still be a nurse. Life is not over. You know, you can still become a nurse. So this is my advice. If you didn't watch that last video, I did fail out of nursing school. I went through the appeal process and it got approved, and I got back into the program, and I got the opportunity to take over the two classes that I failed, which was patho and pharm, and I took them over and I got A's. Like, it's not, now looking back, patho and pharm, it's not even that hard. It's just, you just have to have the time to study for it. So if you are working or if other things are going on in your life, like your family, a family member that's close to you is sick, or you know, a lot of reasons, there's a lot of reasons why you might be distracted, and you have like other obligations and you can't study as much as you should. So if that is you and you failed out of your nursing program, here is my advice. So number one, I would say first is talk to your professor. Most likely if you failed out of your program, you failed two courses. So talk to those two professors and see what they can do for you. I know most likely they're not going to do anything, but just go through the process. Ask them if there's any way you can do extra credit. One thing is though, don't just ask them for free points. Like, don't just go there and say, and I did that for my patho teacher, because I've been asking her for extra. I was like back then asking her for extra credit the entire semester, so she wouldn't have given me extra credit. So I asked her just because since it was like 0.3 points or whatever it was, I was just like, can you please just make an exception? And of course she said no, and she dismissed me out of the program. But my advice is don't even bother doing that. Ask for another opportunity to earn your grade, because their mindset is, you know, they're not going to give free points. They want you to earn your grade, because their mindset is that they're not giving you a grade, you're earning it. You get what I'm saying? So that's step number one. Just go through the process. Ask the two professors if there's any way you can do something extra, or, you know, retake the exam that you failed, or whatever the case is. Most likely you're gonna say no. That's fine. Just ask just in case, because you never know. What if they're, I don't know, having a good day and they're just like, all right, take it over, and then boom, you can have another opportunity and maybe not get dismissed out of the program. But anyway, that's probably not going to work. So moving on to step number two. Step number two, I would say to make an appointment with the dean. If your school is pretty big, it might take a while. The dean might be like overwhelmed, especially at the end of the semester. Everybody who, you know, missed it by a point is probably going to want to see the dean, but try your best to get to speak to the dean, and or even if it's a phone call or an email, get in contact with the dean and make sure you start the appeal process. So basically the appeal process would be step 3. That would be for you to gather any documentations. If whatever your situation was that caused you to fail your 2 nursing courses, get whatever documentation explains that. Like if it was because, you know, a family member passed away, or, you know, whatever the case is, get the death certificate. If it was because, you know, I don't know, if it was because, I don't know, I didn't really have documentation, because my thing was I was basically just working too much, so I just wrote that in the letter. I didn't have any extra documentation. But if you do have documentation in your situation, gather that documentation, and then also write an appeal letter that explains your situation. Now for the appeal letter, I would say that is the most important part of this entire process. If you write a good appeal letter, you will get back into the program. My letter is like proof that you can get back into into programs if you write the letter in the right way. So for the appeal letter, I would say number 1 is don't blame the professor or anybody else for your grades. don't go and say, oh, the professor was doing this and doing that, and giving points here and not there. And don't do that. Just say that you did wrong and you weren't up to their standards and you didn't get the score that you were supposed to get. Acknowledge that, but then explain why that whatever factors contributed to that. So you can say, like I said, you were working too much, or a family member passed away and you were busy with the funeral so you couldn't study, or someone was sick and you were in the hospital all the time and you couldn't study, or whatever the case was. Remember, like I said, in my case, it was just that I was working too much and I just didn't have the time to study, and my job back then didn't even allow me to have a piece of paper, so I literally could not study. So I wrote that in my letter. And another point to add into the letter, to make sure you do, if you are writing an appeal letter, is to write and towards the end of it, write what you would do if you were given a second chance to enter the program. So write what you would do differently. So say you're writing that a family member passed away and that's why you didn't have so much time to study and that's why your grades fell behind or whatever. Write just hypothetically what you would do differently if that happens, God forbid, again. So you would write, if in the future I am found in a situation like this again, I would be in better communication with my professor and maybe take a leave of absence instead of trying to finish the semester and get poor grades. So I would also explain what you would do the second time around to get a better grade. Like say you can say you're gonna study more, you're gonna figure out what kind of learner you are so you can better understand the concepts. You can say you're gonna go to tutoring, whatever it is. They just want to hear that if they do give you a second chance in the program, that you're not going to fail again. So I would just focus on that. Those three things are I hope I said three things. Those three things are most important. So number one is acknowledging that essentially is your fault, and not to point fingers and blame anyone else for you failing out of the program. And number two would be to write what you would do. Write about what you would do if you were given the second chance. And then I'm forgetting the third one. Hold on. Sorry, I literally had to check my notes on my phone to figure out what I was missing. So anyway, so number one is don't place blame on anyone else for you failing out of the program. Number two is to explain whatever factors contributed to you failing out of the program. And then number three is to explain what you would do differently if you do get the second chance to go into the program, and how you would avoid this happening again. And another tip I have in this whole process is to be careful about what explanations you give, because you don't want to go and say, I was depressed and I had a lot of, psychological issues, and, I was seeing a psychiatrist and my medicine was imbalanced. Don't say stuff like that. In my opinion, well, you can, that's on you. To me, I think their mindset is if you had those issues, you probably will have those issues again. And if you are not, mentally stable enough to do well in the program, they're gonna probably assume that you're not mentally stable enough to be a nurse. So I wouldn't go with the explanations, even if that is true. Honestly, I don't think I would write that I had any mental issues that contributed to me failing out of the program, because I think some people on the appeal committee would read into that and maybe deny your appeal if they think that. So that's just my take on that. If you guys need any help writing your appeal letters, feel free to DM me on Instagram, because for some reason, for one person, if you're watching this, hi, for one person who commented on the last video about failing out of the program, I tried to comment, reply back to her comment and help her with her appeal process, but for some reason every time I tried to comment, YouTube would just delete the comment. So I was just trying to tell her DM me on Instagram. But yeah, anyway, so DM me on Instagram, guys, if you did fill out your program and you want more of my advice, or if you want to see like the letter that I wrote, so you can have an idea of what kind of letter you should write, or what maybe will work for you to get back into the program. You let me know on Instagram. You can DM me. I hope this video was helpful, guys. Sorry for all the squinting. I'm literally like directly into the in front of the sun because that's best lighting. But anyway, guys, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope you guys are doing well. If you did fail out of your nursing program, I'm sorry to hear that, but all hope is not lost. Hang in there. You can still be a nurse. I hope this was helpful. DM me on Instagram, and if you haven't already, please subscribe. Hit that bell down below. Follow me on Instagram and like this video, and I think that's it. Okay, bye, guys. Oh no, that's not it. Watch the last video if you didn't already about failing nursing school. That's the one before this one. I might link it down below. Yeah, I will link it down below if you didn't watch that one already. Watch that video, and yeah, see you guys in my next one. Bye.